The Devastator returns this Saturday in Louisville, Kentucky, taking on Dustin Jacoby. And now this is an interesting fight for you. Jacoby, an excellent striker, former kickboxer. How do you like this matchup?
I love it. It's a great matchup. It's two veterans. We're both veterans. He's a technical guy. He's got a lot of experience kickboxing. Very durable. Um, I'm excited, man. It's going to be quite the challenge.
You had trained for Carlos Ulberg a couple of times. That fight had been booked, and this is somewhat similar. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely would agree with that. It's very similar. Both kickboxing guys, both move pretty well. Yeah.
I was talking to you before we started about how it was surprising to me that this layoff, since the Span fight, is actually longer than the layoff you had between Yuri Prochazka and Ryan Span. And that layoff felt like an eternity, and this one is even longer, but it doesn't feel like it's been that long since you've been out. But I did see an interview that you did with James Lynch a couple months ago where it just seemed like you were really frustrated by like a couple of minor setbacks that had happened along the way. So can you explain why it's been so long since we've last seen you?
Well, following this Span fight, I had to get a full, basically shoulder reconstruction, and that takes a long time to heal. And then I got blood clots in January, so that's a whole month without being able to really walk. So yeah, it was a little bit frustrating, but hey, man, everything happens for a reason. That's all I could really chalk it down as.
Yeah, I think I had read that, or I'd seen in the interview with James that those blood clots happened like 1 week after the when the fight with Ulberg was supposed to be. So it's amazing how it
Yeah,
works out.
it's weird. Yeah, literally everything worked out. Like he pulled out, and then a week later, I got blood clots, which was crazy.
So had that fight happened, would you have seen any sort of negative effects of the blood clots at that time, or probably not?
For sure. Yeah. So I got the blood clots not a week after. I got them 4 weeks before the fight. So he pulled out, like I said, like 5 weeks before, and then I got him a week later.
Oh, so it was a week
And then,
after he pulled out, not a week after when the fight would have been. Okay, that's why
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
confused. Yeah.
yeah. A week after he pulled out, not when the fight would have been.
And you're back in California fighting or training alongside Joe Daddy Stephenson, who was your coach for a long time before you had, I guess, moved away from there. What's it like to be back home? Does it feel, I guess, has it felt familiar and good?
No, it's great. It's great. Everything I need is at home. It's all focused training. They know me. I know them. They pay attention to my needs exactly. It's hard to go someplace and like have them know you and understand like how you work, and then to motivate you and get you to do the things that make you a better fighter because they don't really know you. So now that I'm back home working with my team, I'm very excited. My conviction's at an all time high, so I'm very excited.
And what's the mentality been like heading into this fight? Like, what sort of training have you done to focus on the mental aspect of the fight game? Because we've always seen how good you are from the physical standpoint. You know how much power you carry, how athletic you are. How much of this has been focused on the mental side of things?
I think it's been equally focused on the mental and the physical. Like I said, I'm not worried about confidence anymore because I have my conviction. I've been forged in the fire. I've been in there with the best. I know who I am. At one point, I was kind of writing off my own accomplishments and my own journey and just being like, it's kind of what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And I was kind of putting myself down instead of, looking at who I am and how I got here. And that instead of looking at the whole picture, I was looking at what's right in front of me. And I think getting back to that, and also strengthening my relationship with my Lord, with Jesus Christ, has been a big part of it as well.
When you talk about conviction and confidence, what are the differences between those two things in your mind?
So confidence is fleeting, man. Confidence is a feeling. It's something you can't control feelings. You can't keep feelings in check all the time. Conviction is something that it's like a fact. Like all the work I've done in the dark, everything I've done, all this training, and like I know I'm gonna perform. You know, I've done all the work to perform. That's where my conviction comes from. Confidence is like how you're feeling on that day. And whether I'm feeling good or not, I know I've done the work. You know what I mean? And I'm ready to go.
That's a really unique perspective, because I think that takes a lot of pressure off of yourself, because I think people feel the pressure of having to feel confident and having to find confidence. But if you kind of eliminate that and you feel like you said, you've put in the work, you know what you're capable of, it kind of offsets that.
100%. 100%. It takes a lot of pressure off. Instead of constantly chasing that confidence and constantly chasing, oh man, I don't feel good today, or oh, I'm feeling it, I feel great, and then the next day you're like, I don't know, you know, I do know now, I do know, I know who I am and what I'm about. I know I freaking put in all those hours in the gym in the dark. I know I freaking trained in the hot, in the cold, and worked on this technique, that technique. I sparred with these guys. I went and put myself in bad positions, and even when I was in like showing up to places to train at gyms I've never even been to, I performed whether I felt good about it or not, or nervous or not, you know. And it's that's what the conviction is.
And lastly, have you always been religious, or is this something that you've kind of gravitated towards more recently?
I've always been religious, but I've really gravitated more recently towards it. Life's tough, man. Life's tough, and the journey I've been on has been not the easiest one. And I've come to realize this is all temporary, you know. And what matters is how we live our lives and how we affect other people, and that's really what matters. The godly values versus the earthly values.
Well, faith and conviction are both powerful things, and I'm happy to hear that you're going to be carrying those with you into Saturday against Dustin Jacoby after this layoff. Happy to see you back in the cage, and happy to get a chance to catch up with you. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate it, Aaron, man. It's always good talking with you, man.